So I just got back from watching The Exorcist Believer, and man, we gotta talk about it. Let's get into it. What's up, I Like Scary? We are back. I hope you all having an awesome day. I'm having an awesome day. It feels great to be a horror fan. So you all, I just got back from seeing The Exorcist Believer, and yeah, we got to talk about it. So you all know how it goes. We're going to start spoiler free, and then later in the video we're going to get into spoilers. And you know, if you haven't seen it, you definitely probably want to hop out once we get into spoilers, but we're going to start spoiler free. But before we get started, definitely smash the like button because it definitely helps. So you all, The Exorcist Believer is basically when Victor's daughter Angela and her friend Catherine shows signs of demonic possession, it unleashes a chain of events that forces single father Victor Fielding to confront the nadir of evil. Terrified and desperate, he seeks out Chris McNeil, the only person alive who witnessed anything like it before. So you all, to get into it, basically, you know, this film surrounds two younger ladies, Catherine and Angela, and they're friends or whatever. And what happens is that, to make a long story short, they get in a tough situation with possession, and it all starts. It's for me, it's kind of crazy because it all starts from just a bad mistake and you know, things like that happen in everyday life. But the opener of this film kind of starts with like character development with Angela's mom. An incident happens with, you know, like Angela's mom, and it leads into Victor and Angela's life, the Fieldings' life as a family. It leads to them. It's basically a bad result, but we push through and everything with this whole film, which I want to say big shout out to Christopher Nelson, man. He really brought this film to life. But we knew that, you know, with all the looks and stuff we're going to get into with these two girls with demonic looks. Oh my God. I like some of the stuff that I seen was definitely like, wow. The detail is just, it was just gnarly shit we seen. But this film was shot very well, in my opinion. It was beautiful. The coloring, you know, the color grading, it was just well. You know, a lot of the footage that they captured was well. And I definitely liked the director. A lot of the director stuff we seen, getting these characters in their character shoes. You could definitely see that they were really locked in. But I want to highlight these two young ladies, Angela and Catherine, man. I feel like these two definitely did some great things in this film. They did some great things in this film along with Angela's dad, Victor. They definitely had a lot of highlights in this film. But one thing I want to say is I feel like with this film, I'm kind of stuck. Because, you know, I don't hate it. A lot of you guys out here, you know, just off rip, a lot of critics was like, this movie's terrible. It's the worst shit I've ever seen. It's not that, you know, it's not terrible. I've seen movies that's way worse. You know, it's not terrible. Is it the best possession film? I wouldn't say that. It's not the best possession film. To me, this film is more like, you know, in the middle. It's like average. It's like your ordinary possession film. And it feels like with this film, something with David Gordon Green, just Blumhouse in general, something was holding them back. I don't know if it's because it's something kind of new to David Gordon Green, but you can definitely feel that something was holding them back from certain things. But I really saw the vision they were trying to bring to life, but some things just wasn't executed right. But it didn't hurt the film like majorly like people were making a scene with these first reactions. It didn't. You know, it brought itself back to life a lot of times, but then it fucked up again. You know, it was like it'll come back from things, but then it'll happen over and over. A lot of odd choices were made in this film, but overall this film is average. Now I will say I don't know if the rewatch value on this will be solid over the years, you know, like other possession films. I definitely want to check it out again, but I'm gonna have to watch it again for sure. I feel like it definitely has that pasting of the original Exorcist in '73. I saw they try to bring that pasting to life in this film, and it definitely helped it. A lot of the jump scares kind of fell flat. It was almost like you could see them coming, but that's like that with any possession film. I feel like it's starting to be repetitive in possession films so much. We're starting to be able to see when something's going to happen. But I did get caught off guard a few times with some unsettling scenes and some scenes that just were disturbing and jump scares, you know. But some of them fell flat. A lot of scenes in this movie kind of fall flat off. You can tell off decision making, and some things feeling rushed off certain aspects. It felt kind of rushed. Like, okay, just go with that. You know, I think that one will work. You know, I felt like that, honestly. And you guys know I gotta always be honest with my reviews, or you guys will never believe me. But to kind of push forward everything, I feel like the cast definitely did their job. Ann Dowd did an amazing job. Also, I liked Ann Dowd's character. She definitely had you convinced with the stuff she had going on with her character. Angela's dad was very, you know, impressive. And I feel like they kind of focused on him a little too much. You know, I was talking to the wife about that. I feel like they kind of focused on him a little too much. I thought it was going to be, you know, a little bit more on Catherine and Angela. It was centered around them, but I feel like they pulled them back a little bit too much, if that makes sense. But overall, I'm gonna rate it at the end. This film is definitely average. It's not the worst shit out there. I really I like it. I don't hate it. I really like it. And I feel like it was just some decisions that were made that was kind of odd. That's all I will say. It was kind of some bad decision making, especially some of them kind of approaching the third act. But I will say that third act, once it kicks up, it definitely has you glued to the screen to see what happens next with this exorcism. I definitely think, you know, that third act is going to pull a lot of people in. I feel like some people will just hate it straight out the theater. Some people will kind of tolerate it and like it. So there's my spoiler-free review, you guys. But now we're about to get into spoilers. So if you haven't seen The Exorcist Believer, you definitely want to head out. I'm going to give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay. The Exorcist Believer, man. It kicks up with a very emotional story. Basically, Angela's mom and dad, they're all in Haiti. And Angela's, you know, she's an unborn child at this point. And an earthquake happens in Angela's and her mom's stomach, and Victor Fielding is having to be put into a tough situation where he has to choose between his unborn kid and his wife. And you know, that's a tough situation. Making a long story short, obviously you guys know Angela, she was born, and this whole story takes place, I want to say 50 years from the original Exorcist case with Reagan McNeil and everything. So Catherine and Angela are friends, and they are, you know, going to the same school and everything. Angela basically asks her dad, can she go study over Catherine's house? Victor is a photographer, but he wants to hang out with his daughter. They have this close bond, and he's very protective over her due to some of the last words his wife said before she passed away. He's just very protective over her, and I feel that, you know, as a father and stuff. So he pushes forward, and he caves in as a dad, and he lets his daughter go hang out with Catherine, you know, after school. But you know, younger ladies sometimes they kind of play around with, you know, their situations and where they're going and stuff at that age, and she ends up going somewhere else instead of going to Catherine's house. And they kind of have a friend on the back burner trying to lie for them. Make a long story short, they go in the woods, and it's some type of ritual they're playing with. Like I guessed, if you follow a lot of the Exorcist Believer videos I had in the past few weeks, I definitely guessed this, man. They, you know, with her mom being Haitian and everything, they're playing with, like, I want to say it was like a Haitian ritual. They're in like this basement of a sewer. It's weird, you know, and they're playing around with this Haitian, you know, ritual, trying to connect with Angela's mother. She wants to talk to her mother. Her mother is, you know, not coming along. From my understanding, she's not coming through. But a lot of stuff in this film goes unexplained. You know, I don't know if we're dealing with the Pazuzu. I don't know if we're dealing with a different Damon. Maybe I missed it. A lot of things went unannounced. You know, a lot of things were kind of just. It felt like they were thrown in there. The scenes that weren't explained. So, make a long story short, we find out that Angela and Catherine has been missing for 3 days. We find these young ladies in a barn, you know, just a barn sitting there like they just went through the ringer. And, you know, they're 30 miles away from this sewer, you know, that they went in, this sewer, whatever you want to call it, you know. And Victor actually finds clues because they have like this whole town. I think it takes place in like Georgia, looking for these two young ladies. And he finds the clue like a sneaker. And I want to say they found one of their book bags. But anyways, make a long story short, he tells Angela, you know, that scene from the trailer, baby, you've been gone 3 days. And she's like, I've been gone a few hours. And I just feel like some of the stuff was kind of just, it was odd, man. You just didn't get it. It wasn't explaining anything. You say that these girls walked 30 miles to a barn. Their feet had so many blisters on them. But we don't see, I mean, you don't have to see anything. But, man, some of the stuff just went unexplained. I didn't like that. Especially main things like with the demon. It was like, okay, we know it came from Haiti or whatever it came from, this ritual. It's just kind of, it was confusing. It's kind of confusing at a point. I'm going to have to watch it again for sure. But we push through and we get introduced to, like, Victor's neighbor, which is played by Ann Dowd. And she's a great character, man. You know, she's a great character. Paula, she's like that annoying neighbor at one point, but she comes out in the end to be very helpful. And Victor, he doesn't believe in like religion, because I think in his past life it was kind of forced on him a lot. So he's like real non-believer. You know, he's like non-believer, but you know, him and his daughter has this crazy bond. They're real connected. They're playing around, and I want to say this: the character development in this is definitely great. You know, by the end of the film, you're invested in some of the main characters. Like, you're like feeling very emotional, especially with like Catherine and Angela. Seeing these two innocent girls with these big smiles on their face get converted into these demons is very unsettling. A lot of stuff you see with them is unsettling. And I really think that they carried this movie in certain angles, them, you know, as actors and characters. It definitely fell flat, you know, in a lot of areas, for sure. I'm not going to say, you know, it's just, oh, you know, this is just average. Yes, average with things falling flat and odd choices being made. But, you know, you can see that, I'm not trying to be funny, you can see that David Gordon Green kind of got uncomfortable in certain writing stages. He definitely got uncomfortable pulling back from certain things off of just being, you know, uncomfortable. You could tell he was kind of scared to take that extra step, that risk with this Exorcist film. But you know, this is a trilogy. You got Deceiver coming out in 2025 in August, possibly. They definitely gonna have to button up a little bit after this film. But yeah, you know, we got some crazy, you know, jump scares when they did happen. I feel like Chris McNeil, Ellen Bernstein, we could have went without this character. I'm gonna be honest. I know a lot of people, and you know, I'm a huge Exorcist fan, but me saying this, I think Ellen Bernstein, she didn't have to be in this. It was doing well. The whole film, I feel like the film was doing great until that character stepped in with some of the dialogue. It kind of pulled it. It just drained it a little bit. I don't want to sound rude because she does a great job for her older actress, but I feel like some of the stuff was pointless for her. It was like a wasted character, similar to, you know, some of the stuff that, it was crazy because I told, you know, the wife this, like Halloween Kills, you know how we had Lindsay and you know, Lonnie. It was that same type of thing, you know, with Ellen Bernstein and Chris McNeil. But it's a crazy scene where I guess this too, when Catherine, because I saw it in the trailer, Catherine takes the crucifix and stabs Chris McNeil's eyes out, both of them out, because she's like, now you can't see Reagan, because through this scene, you know, basically Chris McNeil is just crying how she wants to see her daughter. And I think that was creepy though. She kind of stabs her eyes out. That was brutal. But I loved both, man. I loved both Catherine and Angela. Now, to kind of push through with this, I feel like a lot of the scenes with Angela kind of were like, it's like they almost didn't know what to do with her, like as a you know, as a demon. You know, I feel like they kind of got stuck with her as a demon in certain aspects. But I feel like they did such a great job with Catherine as a demon, like especially that church scene. I know a lot of people say that Body in the Blood is cringe, and it comes off a little weird when she's saying it. But man, some of her scenes, I think she has a lot of unsettling scenes, bro. Like Catherine, the scene where she's in the bed with, you know, and Chris McNeil comes up, she has the Bible. All that shit is just creepy and unsettling. But approach to the third act, I feel like it was some of the decisions in this third act was very odd that they made, and I feel like, okay, we got this priest. I think it's like Father Maddox or Maddox. He was supposed to help, but he kind of pulls out because he's not allowed to do it. And we finally get him back in full blown on board with the exorcism. And when we do get him, he gets killed. He gets killed. It's like, what was the fucking point of bringing him in? It was like, you should have brought him in and he should have made a difference and fixed the exorcism. This motherfucker gets killed 2 minutes in with the famous 360 neck spin. I'm like, oh my fucking God. But, I mean, of course, I feel like, of course, that's going to happen, you know. But to kind of push through with everything, the final act, I feel like, is what pulled me in the most with Catherine and Angela. The faces they were making and laughing. And big shout out to Danny McBride because of the dialogue. Some of the shit they were saying was definitely unsettling. I feel like the stuff they said is what brought their characters to life. I'm like, oh, and just them bouncing off each other's energy, bro, was very unsettling, man. I'm still kind of stuck on the final act. Like, I'm on board with it. I liked it because it pulled me in the most out the whole film. But some stuff with the third act was just like, okay, why would you do that? You know, why would you do that? But it was very unsettling. I love the scene where they're like just shaking in the chairs. They're laughing like everyone's a joke. But something is crazy happening at the end. I mean, I know they kind of promoted that one girl lives, one girl dies. But we find out that Catherine didn't make it. That's a bold ass choice, man. I don't know if they feel like that'll create some emotional attachment leaving out the theater. But I'm stuck on that. They really made sure that Catherine didn't make it, bro. Like, I'm like, damn, she looked like Linda Blair. She looked like a young Reagan. I guess they made Angela live because she had a messed up story already with her mom. And she's like the chosen one. She's the miracle child. But I'm like, bro, what the fuck? They really killed her off. And now you got Catherine's mom and dad just, you know, with the kid lost. And the fucking dad, Catherine's dad was so fucking annoying. The mom did a great job. I really enjoyed her mom and everything. But overall, you know, Exorcist Believer, it was the average possession film. It wasn't nothing special. I hope that they can kind of buckle up with Deceiver and just learn from this. You know, similar to like what the Nun did. You know, the Nun fucked up in the first one. They pulled through in the second one. I feel like something like that could happen with this. I really was looking forward to this. Am I upset? No. Am I disappointed? From certain angles I am, but I still enjoy it. I will probably watch it again, kind of lock in and learn a little bit more with this film. But overall, I feel like some of you guys out there are going overboard. This is not the worst film I've ever seen, but it's definitely not what you thought it would be from the trailers and stuff. But I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I think this movie will be, you know, a film where you can go out with friends and have, you know, somewhat of a good time and walk out the theater and have something to talk about. So, yeah, before I head off, I want to say that I'm going to give The Exorcist Believer a solid 7. I'm going to give it a solid 7, okay? I feel comfortable with a 7 right now. Maybe it'll change, but unfortunately, this is the end of the video. I want you guys to hit me with my social medias at ILIKESCARY on Instagram, ILIKESCARY_ on TikTok, Brandon on Facebook, ILIKESCARY on Twitter. And yeah, you guys, right there where it says join, definitely make sure you click join to become a member of the channel. I want you guys to watch some horror movies. Stay scary out there. I love you all. Peace. Until next time.